Not to be broadcast is brought to you by Vibe.ng. Sometime last week, Wizkid tweeted his intentions to build a school in Nigeria and other African countries using the profits he made from his engagement with Nike. The mother of his first child, Shola Ogudu, replied to the message, asking his fans to advise our dear superstar to pay for his children's school fees before embarking on his quest, stating that charity begins at home. This most likely led to Wizkid deleting the tweet, but things have not remained the same ever since. 2 days later, the mother of Wizkid's second child, Binta, mentioned that Wizkid was owing $18,000 in child support. This may have or not inspired a controversial post from Wizkid where he wrote, "Ignore the money-hungry hoes." This came right after he tweeted his thanks to his third baby mama, Jada, which was really a code for saying thank you for not being a part of all the drama. He also paraded his love for Jada's son in the tweet, claiming that one of his forthcoming projects will be named after their baby boy, Zion. Moments later, Shola showed up on the internet with a multiple-part expose of how Wizkid has been an irresponsible dad and a mentally and verbally abusive co-parent. She did spill some very strong tea though, including how Wizkid only played his part as a social media daddy, how Wizkid never showed up for all 7 of Tife's birthdays, how Wizkid once questioned the baby's sexuality and went to the point of telling Bolu, who was 4 at the time, to fill up the boobs and asses of his female friends just to be sure he did not have homosexual tendencies. She also mentioned that one time Wizkid sent Bolu back with a weed crusher in his school bag. She supported her narrative with lots and lots of screenshot chats between herself and Starboy and someone believed to be Wizkid's relative, as well as chats of all Wizkid's baby mamas trying to form some sort of support group. Fans and followers have been divided, with many throwing their full support behind Shola and a few others saying that Shola is still in love with Wizkid and is trying to get his attention through his son. Some others are busy comparing Wizkid to Davido in the baby daddy department. Having gone through every single chat that she posted on Instagram, some things are now quite clear to see. Wizkid is not exactly daddy of the year, and it is public knowledge that he can be a douchebag, but the chats also show that Wizkid has put in some effort to see to it that he meets the child's monetary needs, albeit late and sometimes overdue. Of course, money cannot replace the presence of a parent in a child's life, but for an artist like Wizkid, sharing his time across his career, his 3 children, himself, his demons, and the entire world is not exactly a walk in the park. Yes, himself and Shola were very naive when they met and created Bolu, but both parties should have understood by now that this is what they signed up for. The most hurting part is that Boluwatife is really at the receiving end of all this back and forth, because public displays like this, particularly hosted on the internet, are very likely to affect the boy's confidence and social life in the closest future. It must be quite tough for Shola as a single mom with an absentee dad whose life is based on show business. But honestly, there seems to be a difficulty in her moving on, which is quite normal, particularly when there's a child involved. But maybe she should not have put out all that weight on social media. Wizkid, on the other hand, needs to do better. Look at the weed crusher incident, for instance. There's every possibility that Bolu got attracted to it because it looked like a toy and he put it in his bag. We know that a lot of shenanigans go down in the homes of entertainers, but it only makes sense to baby-proof the house whenever the children come visiting. Wizkid also needs to invest more time into the affairs of the child, because if he did, he probably would have noticed the strange item in his school bag. In conclusion, both Shola and Wizkid need to get their acts together for the sake of their son Bolu, and Wizkid needs to particularly cater to his sons equally without giving off the air of favoritism or meting out his feelings of the mother on the children. What are your thoughts on this? If you'd like to see the full chat, you can head over to www.vibe.ng to check it out right now.
Breakfast in bed on a plane, I could never complain. I was walking with the limp, had the cane. Deck said great.
For more sizzling gist and interesting trends, kindly follow us across all our social media platforms on Vibe.ng.